Well, hello, Ellen. How are you doing today?
Hello, Ruta. I am great. How are you?
I'm excellent, and I'm so excited to have you on the Redefining Success podcast because we've been connected on LinkedIn for several years, and I know a little bit about your story, which is quite fascinating as far as I know. And I'm very curious to hear more and to share with the audience what you've been through in your life, which basically brought you to redefining success completely. And as the audience, if they're watching on YouTube, they probably see in your face that you are this light, beautiful woman who is like these shiny eyes, which I absolutely love. So, welcome to the podcast. And would you like to give a little bit of a background, who you are and what happened in your life?
All right. Yes, I'm happy to. I grew up in Iowa and in the United States, and I've lived here most of my life. Um, made made some detours to a couple other states, but uh, I I figured out that I could sing at a pretty early age, and so that's where my focus laid. I thought I wanted to be a professional classical music singer, and had some success with it in high school, and went to some colleges and auditioned, and then I got pregnant. So at 17, I got to redefine my success at a very early age. So became a mother on my 18th birthday. Got married. We were both seniors in high school. We stayed together 30 years. It was a lot of ups and downs, a tremendous amount of redefining. I had many different careers, many jobs. I did go back and get my degree in vocal performance, which was a huge success. And ultimately, all of those jobs led to where I am today. Ups and downs, failures, victories, personal and professional. So today, I am a hypnotherapist. I am a Reiki master. I am a medical intuitive. I do past life regression. I also do spiritual guidance, which is coaching in a spiritual way where my intuition comes in. I use my intuition in my work a lot. And I also am a yoga teacher, and I think that's about it. It seems like there's a lot. So, yes, a lot of ups and downs, and here I am today, and my practice is amazing.
Wow, what an introduction. And well, of course, let's begin with getting pregnant at 17. So, how did that shape your life?
So, I had auditioned at a good music college, and then found out I was pregnant, and so that all went away. The father of the baby and I got married, and it was most important for him to go to college. So we packed up and went to the college that he wanted to go to. And I tried to take some classes. So we were both going to school at the same time. And that was just ridiculous. We had no money, and we had a baby, and one of us needed to go to work. So I that was the beginning. Well, yeah, of my work uh, career, and I worked food service at first, and then I became a veterinary assistant, which was beautiful because until I figured out I could sing, I wanted to be a veterinarian.
Ah,
So that was great. Yeah. So the focus in those first 4 years of our marriage was getting him through school. And I just kind of I hesitate to say I got put on hold because I was doing things that now I recognize as being very formative to who I am today. But it was more about following his dreams than it was following mine, which I was fine with because I didn't know what my dream was at that point. And we had a baby, um, and he was a big focus in our lives. So that was that. It was a huge life changing event for me, for us.
I can imagine because you know what? My parents, they got pregnant with my brother when they were 19. And so
Yeah.
I mean, I have not experienced it myself, but I can see from very close how it shapes the rest of your life, becoming a
Hmm.
so early on. And I, right now, as I'm 35 now and I don't have kids yet, I can't even imagine what it means to become a parent when you're 18, 19, 20, even early 20s. Even though at the time, when I was in my early 20s, I was like, oh, you know what? Actually, if I had a boyfriend right now, I would probably want to have kids already. And now when I look back, I'm like, what? Oh my God, no way. So it's really fascinating for me to meet people like yourself who experienced that, and yet here you are. It was a miracle. As far as I know, your story, your daughter was the most incredible miracle in your life. So share a little bit about your relationship with your daughter and what happened there.
Yeah, sure. My daughter was born when I was 23. Jason, my son, at that point was about 5 years old. So there was a big gap, but that was due to getting through college and all of that. And I was absolutely beyond thrilled to welcome a little girl into our lives. And she was she was feisty. She was precocious. She was very dramatic. She was fun to raise. And so she grew up and got married and gave us a beautiful granddaughter who just turned 16, by the way, and uh, became extremely successful in her career. Did wonderful things philanthropically, like with the local humane society and other entities like that. And she became ill. They lived in an older historic home, and long story short, there was black mold in it, and she became ill, and pain and lung problems and so on and so forth. And we found out later through genetic testing that the gene that we all have that mitigates mold and fungus from our bodies, because we go outside and we're in it, it's in the air. Her gene didn't work. It was present, but it didn't work. So she literally was, for lack of a better way to put it, a mold factory. So found a doctor that helped to diagnose that and then help her start to recover from it. And oh gosh, she was in the hospital twice. Nobody knew what was wrong. When they finally found out, it was pretty well advanced. And she went to Arizona 2 times for some integrated health care and had great success the first time. And they also found Lyme disease. And they also found numerous secondary infections. So there was a lot going on. So she came home from that first visit. Uh, oh, we were hopeful, and she was better. But then she deteriorated again and went back a second time, and that time wasn't as successful, and came home on full time oxygen and very isolated, which we all did at that time. But she didn't get out much, and we didn't see each other super often, but we talked every day because she was my best friend, one of my best friends. And so um, she ended up dying on January 31st of 2022. So she's been gone a little over 3 years now. And, we knew she was sick. We knew that, but we didn't expect her to die. It was very, very sudden. She collapsed at home and just died. So that was, well, as you can imagine, a huge shock, and it left a humongous void in my life and in the life of my family and in the lives of anybody who knew her, because she truly, truly was a remarkable woman. So yeah, that was another big um, life changer. Um, but
Absolutely.
oddly, my we we had our visitation and service, and I took half the next day off, and then went back to work because I needed something that was normal. I needed something that I could get out of myself and help other people with. Um, which she was very, very, very much that way. So I think it was her probably nudging me and saying, "Mom, go back to work. This is what you need." So yeah.
I'm so sorry to hear that. I mean, I know that this happened, and yet I cannot imagine that. Even though I've lost my mom when she was 47, I was
Mm-hmm.
23, 12 years ago, even though I still have my grandma who lost her daughter. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, even though it's very close, these kind of experiences, I don't think I can imagine, because I don't think anyone can really imagine what it feels like when it's you, when it's your own,
Right.
and your grief is unique to you, and the way you established your relationship with your daughter was unique to you. And like you said, she was one of your best friends, and it's not just any relationship. It's something really deep and really beautiful. So saying that, it's really incredible how you have turned it around in the last 3 years. Can you hear me, by the way?
I can.
Okay.
Yeah. You were cutting out just a little bit there for a minute, but now you're back.
Okay. Okay. So what's really fascinating to me, because now I'm just realizing the timeline, because when we first met, it was it's still fresh. It only
Mm-hmm.
happened in 2022. So when
Yeah.
we first connected was even more fresh. It was probably the first year or something like that. So,
I think so.
right. And so like that's that I can't even imagine what it feels like so early on to still be talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, it's very different because it happened 12.5 years ago. And so it's been a while, and I'm kind of used to it in a sense. And I made my peace with my journey. And I'm curious, how was it for you to recover, if you have recovered or you turned it around? Because as you said in the beginning, you also guide people with, spiritual guidance and a lot of different types of energy work. And I'm sure grief
Mm-hmm.
is a part of your work. And so I wonder, how are you doing nowadays as it's still very fresh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, interestingly, not interestingly, but sadly, I lost my mom a year and a half before my daughter died. So there was grief still there. My mom and I didn't have a super close relationship, but I don't know how else to describe it. And Ruta, you will understand this. But when your mom isn't on the earth anymore, it's a whole different feeling.
Mhm.
There's just she's gone, and it's a strange feeling. It's an emptiness that was unexpected for me. So when Kirsten died, um, I was between. I was not married at that point, so I was alone. I was by myself, and that was probably one of the most difficult parts, because I didn't have anyone to come home to talk to about it and to cry with me and to um, uplift me or just even support me. I have found in my life it's kind of a pattern for me that a lot of times I have to go through things alone. So I don't know why I would be surprised that this would be any different. Um, the impulse to pick up the phone, um, and call her or text her, because like I said, we communicated every day, and was just, and still sometimes I'll see some stupid thing that I know she would find hilarious, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I have to show Kirsten. I'm like, oh wait. Um, so it was, I really, there was a time, and I have a wonderful I'm kind of jumping around. I apologize for that. I have a wonderful core group of friends who were there for me, but by the same token, they can't be there for you. They go on with their lives, and I really retreated pretty deeply into myself for a while. Um, and I think it was just my way of processing and healing. And um, I also learned a lot, and my daughter taught me a lot in life, but she also taught me a lot in death. And one of the things was that we all have a certain amount of energy, and where we choose to invest it is very, very important. And especially after losing her, my energy level went way, 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 way down. And so I had to learn to be more economical with my energy. Who do I want to spend time with, truly spend time with? Um, Outside of my work, where do I want to put my energy? So that was one of the things that I learned during my earliest grieving. Um, the other thing was, and this is a big one, and I use this with my clients all the time, we waste so much of our time and energy worrying about things and planning things way in advance, and telling ourselves stories in our minds, and all of the things. And the way that I share it is that the morning that I woke up, on the day that Kirsten died, I had my plan for the day. I knew what I was going to do. I knew what I had for clients. I knew that I had a board meeting that I needed to Zoom in on that evening. My niece had her baby boy that day, so I became a great aunt on that day. And we were all texting happily, and Kirsten was in on the text messages, and it was during the Zoom meeting that I got the call from my granddaughter, who was 12 at the time, and that her mom had collapsed. And looking back, here I was thinking, I'm going to just go downstairs after this Zoom meeting, and I'm going to pour myself a glass of wine and just kind of unwind and take a breath and get ready for bed. And then that happened, and she died. And I thought, wow, that was not in my plan for today, but it was clearly the plan for today.
Mm.
So when I work with clients that are so wrapped up in trying to control things and all that, I'm like, surrender it. Make your
Mm.
plan for the day. Say, this, and this is going to happen. But here you go, God, universe, source, whatever your verbiage is for that. I really don't know what's going to happen. So
Wow.
I'm going to do me. I'm going to walk my path. I'm going to be the best that I can be, but I'm going to give the rest to you. I'm just
Mm.
going to show up the best I can, but you've got the rest. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to get angry about things. I'm not going to, I'm not going to react to things that I can't control.
Wow. So many people talk about specifically this, like, oh, you can't control stuff, but this is probably the best example of how you really truly can't control anything,
Mm-hmm.
or not
Mm-hmm.
not much.
Not much.
Not much. You can control certain things, but in the grand scheme of things, it's really not much. And, you
Yeah.
know, hearing your story, what it reminds me of is my grandma who lost her daughter 12 and a half years ago. And until today, I just came back from Lithuania visiting her. Until today, she uses that as an excuse to not feel great about her daily life. And
Mm-hmm.
like you said, you didn't plan that day, but you also didn't plan that in your life in general. Like nobody
No.
plans to lose a child or to lose a loved one, or like that's just not something that people are comfortable thinking about. Forget about accepting it and kind of living with it. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's such an important piece of the puzzle to actually allow life to happen, because death is a part of life. And when I'm hearing my grandma constantly being in this grief and just not accepting it, and she says that she's accepting it, but deep down she has not accepted it at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Hmm.
it's like this perpetual, like just swimming in this old reality of I wish it was different, instead of being like, you know what, it is what it is, and I will make the most out of what
Yeah.
is. And I feel like that's exactly what you have done. And this is also just the beginning. It's only been 3 or so years now, and this is just the beginning of your new rebirth and redefining who you are, how you live your life, what your priorities are. Like you said, you suddenly started prioritizing because you were like, wait a second, my energy is not infinite, and I need to be economical about this and to actually make sure
Hmm.
that I invest my time and energy in a smart way. And of course, then on top of that, like love happens and relationships happen and friends happen and all of the other things happen. And it's just such a smart way to deal with it, because suddenly you realize, well, yes, it happened. It's a part of my life. It's a part of my story. It's a part of who I am. Now what? What do I do?
Yeah. Yeah, and that was a big question. You know, I love my work, and I knew that I would continue on with that. But you know, what does my life look like without my girl, to talk to and to laugh with and to share with and to experience with? Um, that was that the missing her was the biggest thing. And here's the funny thing, Ruta, and it's not really funny, but I never saw her getting well. I didn't see her dying, but I didn't see her getting well. So you know, I think there was something within me that when she died, um, and her body was it was very diseased, and she was really struggling. Um, I, uh, I, it's not like I knew what was going to happen, but I didn't know it wasn't going to happen, if that makes sense. Because I didn't see her like well again. She turned 40. And she said to me, gosh, you know, some big decade birthday I'm having, you know, no big 40th birthday party. And I said, well, how about this? How about next year when you turn 41, we have a big birthday party, and we have it be a costume party. Her birthday was October 25th, really close to Halloween. And I said, we have it be a costume party, and everybody has to come dressed as their favorite decade. And she goes, "Oh, mom, that sounds awesome." So, you know, we had put that out there, but there's somewhere inside of me knew that that wasn't going to happen. But those are the things that you know, that we push away and we say, "No, no, 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 I can't think about that. I can't look at that." And I didn't dwell on it. But when it happened, um, you know, navigating the making preparations, you know, planning the service, and you know, the first you know, 5 days of her being gone were taken up with all of that, and then all of a sudden, you know, it's life again. And one thing that I thought about was she was a very oh uh, she was a presence. Let's put it that way. And I knew when I know that she, in no way, shape, or form, would want me to stop because she's gone. So, the way that I have kind of redefined it for myself is that I always thought that she would be my legacy, but now I'm hers. So, I'm going on living a good life and a helpful life and a caring life um, in her stead, as opposed to the other way around. And that really, when I thought of that, and I know she puts these things in my head, when I thought of that, it was like, oh wow, okay, I can do this. I can do this. So that was um, comforting thing to me, a motivating thing to me, that I can't die with her. I have more work to do here on earth, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability, and that's exactly what she would want me to do. So it's yeah.
I have no idea how you're able to talk about all of this without tearing up, because I'm getting emotional and it's like, oh my God. because that's also exactly how I felt when my mom passed away. I had this sudden realization that, oh, wow, okay, it feels like she liberated me to live my life on my terms. Because,
Yes.
looking back, I feel like I probably would have felt guilty about living abroad and doing my own thing and,
Mhm.
just traveling the world and taking the time to figure out what I want to do and stuff like that. And I know like she was very like attached to our bond, and so I would have felt like I had to move back as soon as possible when I finish my, university, for example. And now I'm like, wow, well, it's almost like this divine orchestration of like she, in a sense, sacrificed, at least that's the story that I tell myself, that she
Mhm.
sacrificed her life to liberate me and to be like, you know what, free bird, I know that you're meant to do big things out there, and Lithuania is too small for you. And otherwise I will hold you back too much. And I know it's gonna hurt at first, but I just want you to be happy. And that's how I saw it. And I told the stories to myself to just be like, you know what? I will do my absolute best to make sure that she's going to be happy, that I'm happy.
Yeah, yes, yes, and that's exactly it. And when you said the word liberate, that brought something up in me too. That she, Kirsten, leaving the earth liberated me to really truly dig in and figure myself out. Now, that's going to be an ongoing process for the rest of my days here, but to really ground myself in not being a mother, not being a wife, not being this, that, who's Ellen? Who am I? And what really matters to me? And when you lose something that is so precious to you, you take stock of like what really matters. And I will tell you that I'm much quicker to say no. I am much quicker to draw healthy boundaries. I'm much quicker to not people please, not to be like, oh my God, what can I do to make you happy? How can I fix this for you? It's like we all have to fix our own stuff. I'll be there to support you, with my clients or friends or family or whatever, but I can't do your work for you. No one did it for me. You have to do it for you. And that came in that those feelings and that liberation that you said, to be me and to be my weird self. If I don't fit in, I don't fit in. I don't care. That kind of a feeling, that kind of liberation to just live. She gave that to me as well. And your mother gave that to you. And I love that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that so much. So tell me more about that. Like, how do you now feel as this liberation happened and you have transformed yourself and your priorities changed and relationships shifted and basically things really turned around somehow? And
Yeah.
like, how do you feel nowadays?
Oh my gosh, Ruta. Well, you know the story about meeting the love of my life, and that has been um, wow. I mean, I never expected this. And he is a retired police officer in medical retirement. So he was on the police force for 24 years, and now he's a Reiki master teacher. So we giggle about how many are of you are there on the earth, ex-cop, Reiki master teacher. Um, so the level of companionship that we have together is unbelievable. I've been married twice before. This is my third marriage. My first marriage lasted 30 years. My second marriage was 9 years, but we were together for 14. Both of them were very, very, very challenging, each in their own way. But boy, did I learn a lot that I can bring to my clients from both of them. But with Bill, my now husband, there is a level of comfort. There's a level of safety. There's a level of freedom to just be me. And, he gets to just be him. And it's just so easy. And he has helped with that. And he never knew Kirsten. But he lets me talk about her endlessly. And I do. And that's the other thing. I talk about her every day. I share something of Kirsten with somebody every day. And that's now I'm getting emotional. That's how that's how I keep her alive, by sharing her, sharing the things that she taught me, sharing the messages that she still gives me, even though she's on the other side. So and I'm going to be 67 in June. So I've got a lot less time ahead of me than I do behind me. But these are actually the best days of my life, where I feel the most me, where I feel the most free to do my work, um, to be a friend, to be a wife, to be a mom and a grandmother. Um, I mean, when you said the word liberation, I mean, that's it. It has been a liberating journey, and it has been a lot of stumbles, a lot of I don't want to do this. Never taking my own life, but just I can't do it like this. Something has to change. A lot of building my faith, and that's the other thing that has gotten me through with losing my daughter. I couldn't have done it without knowing what I know in my heart about death and crossing over and so on. So how am I feeling now? I am feeling amazing, amazing.
Is
There's grief.
isn't that a turnaround? Like, you really experience something something that would crush almost
Mm-hmm,
everyone,
mm-hmm,
almost everyone. And yet, the way you turned it around it's so inspiring. It's so eye-opening. It's hope-giving for so many people to
mm-hmm.
realize that it's not even about losing someone necessarily. It's about losing anything in life.
Yeah.
Whenever you lose a
Yes, it can be a job or whatever.
right, it can be your business that maybe goes bankrupt.
Mm-hmm,
It can be your house that burns down. It can be
mm-hmm.
anything. It truly can be anything. And yet, in your case, you really took control and you looked deeply. You were like, okay, so who do I really want to become from now on? And you took radical responsibility for how you felt. And for people who are listening or watching this, a lot of people are saying that it's like, oh, it's some woo-woo stuff about, afterlife and stuff like that. Like, I'm a huge believer that my mom is right here with us having this conversation, just like Kirsten is also sitting here and listening to us and cheering you on, Ellen, to speak about all of this. So for me,
Yeah.
there's no question about that.
Mm-hmm,
Like,
mm-hmm.
to me, it has become obvious that we are not just flesh, we are souls living in a body, and this is just a temporary home and a temple that we currently have the privilege and honor to live in. But the soul goes on and continues to live. And so it's so beautiful to hear someone like you who also turned it around, and now you're in the best place of your life. And also
Yeah.
for a lot of people, they might think like, oh, but I'm 40 already, or I'm 35 already, I'm too old for this. And like, I could say the same. I'm 35 and I'm still single, and I could say that I'm, like, it's too late or something. I've never been married, and it's been a little while since I was in a relationship. And yet I'm like, well, it's never too late. Like, you can, it magic can happen in the least expected ways at the least expected time. And
Yes.
you attracted the love of your life at the right time. Somehow it was the right time. Somehow
Mm-hmm.
you were a
It
vibrational,
was.
and somehow you were like, wait a second, now the only person that I allow into my life is gonna match my standards. And he did.
Yes. And he did. And I would talk to God, I would talk to the universe and say, hey, he has to understand me because the stuff that I do is a little out there for some people. Well, a lot of people. But he has to understand that. Well, not only does he understand it, he does it. And I'm like, oh wow, well, this is cool. And he and I actually do Reiki sessions together that we call twin flame Reiki. So people get the benefit of two Reiki masters working on them at the same time. And I also would tell God that, he better be doing his work because I'm over here working really hard to get this girl ready for him. And he was. I mean, the way that our stories parallel each other, him going through a personal crisis, me losing my daughter, very, very parallel, that we were both going through some really hard things at very close to the same time. So, yeah, I hope that our story can be an inspiration to people, that it isn't too late. Um, and don't settle. Don't do that. So,
That
yeah, yes,
That's exactly the thing. Don't settle. That's exactly what I keep on talking about over and over and over and over and over again. And it's like my grandma keeps on asking, like, why are you still single? Like, come on, like there are enough people out there. And I'm like, but I don't want to settle. I
yeah,
don't want to be with
yeah,
anybody. I want to be with one. I'm patiently waiting for the right person. I will rather be single because I'm actually freaking loving my life and myself and my own company. I would rather be by myself than with the wrong person. So it's just
yeah. Mhm.
why would I settle?
Well, I'm not going to let you settle. Yeah, it's a waiting game of sorts, but when divine timing, that's what I tell people, it's divine timing, it's not our timing. And I would say to myself when I was waiting for Bill, I was like, okay, I'm one day closer to meeting him. Or I would say, I know he's out there looking for me just like I'm looking for him. It's just not
Oh
time
my God,
yet.
that's exactly what I tell myself. And I don't just say it, I actually feel it. Like sometimes out of
Hmm.
the blue, I'm like, oh my God, he's thinking about me right now. Like
Yeah.
she's literally dreaming about me right now. That's
Hmm.
like sometimes it even feels creepy. I'm like, am I completely nuts? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. And our paths intertwined in many, many ways, but we never met each other. He came to my place of work. It's not where I'm at right now, but he came there many, many times for Reiki shares, and I didn't participate in them. I would do I would have my clients, and then I would go home. And we, he had to come in one door and me go out the other door. I don't know how we missed each other, but he's 6'4" and hard to miss. And so I know I would have remembered him. But yeah, we just were kind of like, "Phew," yeah, until it was time.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, is there anything that else that you feel called to share in this conversation for people who are redefining their success, who are looking to maybe shift the things that they're focused on, because a lot of people are
Mhm.
focused on all the wrong things, on all the shiny
Mm,
objects without even
yeah.
realizing often, or they realize that it's not the right goal, but somehow there is a lot of fear or something
Oh,
holding them back because a lot of people are like, okay, but I have all of these responsibilities and the bills and I'm the provider for the family. I have a mortgage or whatever. Like there are many different stories. So, is there something that you want to share with people like that who know that they want and would like to change something, but something is holding them back?
yeah. That's interesting because I have had numerous clients of mine who've come to me like in a miserable job and wanted to start their own business or whatever. And I'm like, do it. I'm like, why are you waiting? The only thing that can happen, yes, you could fail. You could. But what if you don't? What if you don't? And of all the jobs that I've had in my life, and I've had lots of different ones, if you would have told me that someday I would be doing this work, I would have laughed at you.
Wow.
I would have laughed at you. It's my heart. It's my calling. But I never dreamed that I would have the ability or the knowledge or the, whatever it takes to do this. And it's a surrender. It is a surrender when you do this kind of work. But everything that you're doing now is leading you to what you're supposed to be doing in life. And I truly believe that. But you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention when and when it's time to go, you go. When it's time to um, take a leap of faith, you take it. We don't know if we don't try. And and if it doesn't work, it's still leading you to where you're supposed to be. And I truly, truly believe that because I've seen it work in my life. I've seen it work in other people's lives, be they friends, be they clients, be they just, mere acquaintances. If you get out of the way, if you get out of your own way because of, oh my gosh, well, I have to have a BMW by the time I'm 30, and just put all of that aside and get down to, what gives me joy. Do that. What gives me joy? Do that. What what gives me purpose? Do that. And you might have to struggle for a while, financially or otherwise. But do that. Life is way, way, way too short to
Yeah.
not grab things and live your dream and work in that direction at any rate.
Yes to that. And to me,
Mm-hmm.
when you say that, it's like when I look back at my own journey, I could say that I struggled, but
Mm-hmm.
really it didn't actually feel like it did kind of feel like struggle, but now when I look back, I'm like, I was so rich. I was so
Yes.
abundant. I was so free. I was doing whatever the hell I wanted. I was just having the time of my life. I didn't have to go to the job that I hated. I didn't have to live in the place that I didn't like anymore. I was just free. And when I say struggle, I struggled just on some levels
Mm-hmm.
simply because it was stressful. Maybe I was anxious. Maybe I didn't know how to deal with my own emotions at the time yet. But then, as you're going through that journey of like, okay, so how do I actually navigate all of this? Because it's the unknown, it's the uncertainty, and then you learn how to navigate and you realize, oh, actually it's kind of fun. And now I'm actually proud of myself that I'm doing this and it's amazing. And so it's so interesting how you also mentioned like if there is some kind of feeling to like some kind of a nudge, do it.
Mm-hmm. Do it.
I have one thing that is happening to me right now, like literally 1 week ago. I was sitting on the train from my home birth town to Vilnius, the capital city of Lithuania, from my family. And I had this out of the blue realization that I'm not supposed to live in this place anymore. And I moved here just back in September. And I moved
Yes.
from the Brazilian jungle to Portugal to be closer to my family, to be close to Lisbon, to be able to travel whenever I want. I'm like, oh my God, I have an ocean view. It's so beautiful. It's so amazing. I love it so much. And honestly, like, I absolutely love it. Like, there's not even a question about it. But a week ago, I was just told that from July 1st, I'm out of here for good. And it's like there's no way back. And I was like, wait a second, can I negotiate? Can I just go for a little while somewhere and then come back? And it's like, no, you can't. Like it's not a place where you're meant to settle.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, again? Like it's already my I don't know how many times I've moved and I've lived in 7 countries so far. And
Mm.
gosh, give me a break. Like, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to your point, you have to listen. You have
You
to say yes,
have to
because
listen.
when I think about, okay, what's the alternative, is that I would just suffocate myself. I know myself. If
Mm-hmm.
I would push through and stay here anyhow,
Mm-hmm.
things wouldn't work anymore. Something wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
work. Either I wouldn't be happy, either I would feel like something with my business is not working, with my relationships is not working, like something would actually present itself to be like, you're out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. And the universe will kick you out. I mean, and it kicks us down, it knocks us down when we're not listening. And I mean, some of the smackdowns that I've gotten in this lifetime are losing my daughter, yes, is one, but oof, there've been others too that I'm like, oh my God, now what do I do? I can't. And like Dr. Phil says, I don't know if you know Dr. Phil, but he says you can't fall off the floor, and I love that because I've been on the floor.
Wow.
There's no way to go but up. The other thing is, and when you were talking about your journey, is absolutely remarkable, Ruta. I love your journey so much, and your bravery and your courage and just your adventurous spirit. But I really truly think that if we're meant for something, it will come to us or we will find it. So if you do take a sidebar, like somebody says, well, what if I make the wrong choice? Well, you might. But if you do, the universe, God, is going to lead you right back to where you need to be. And that's something to remember too, and to put your trust in that and surrender to that. You're going to get there. The right person is going to come. We have to
Mm,
get out of the way and
exactly.
stop blocking ourselves.
Yeah.
And you're good at that. You're good at not blocking yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Stop getting in your own way. That's probably the biggest takeaway of this conversation. So I want to wrap this conversation and just ask you if there's any final nuggets that you want to share that you feel inspired to talk about or to share.
The only thing that comes into my mind, and this is kind of an umbrella statement, but it's also very personal. I really believe that our most important work on this earth plane is to become our true self, to become our authentic self, and to become the best that we can be. And everything else is just um, stuff and just situations and things like that. But our most important work um, is us, is to
Mm.
be who we truly are and to offer that to the world, not the people pleaser that I used to be, but to be who I am now. And of course, I'm still evolving, still doing work on myself and every day. But I really feel like, if we can focus on being our authentic self, a lot of things will fall into place.
Mm,
Yeah, I
beautiful.
do.
So last question.
Mm-hmm.
What does success means to you?
Uh, Success to me means that I'm doing something to make a difference.
Mm.
Um, not a difference for myself, but for humanity. For other, I'm doing my small little part. And success is also for me being happy in what I do because I've worked a lot of jobs that I was desperately unhappy in. So being content and being happy and being excited about what I do, um, that is true success for me. And touching people's lives. I don't go into this when for any kind of accolades or any kind of thank yous, even, but they come. You know that they come, and when we get them, I mean, it's just such uh, a humbling and overwhelming feeling of gratitude to be doing this work. That's success for me.
Mm, beautiful. I can resonate with that a lot.
And I
Thank
know
you.
you can.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. And I'm curious if you want to share how can people find you if they want a Reiki session or some kind
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
of other type of work that you do. So how can they find you and where you're based? Because probably a lot of the work that you do is not online, but actually face to face.
Yes, and I can do remote work. We can make that work. Most of what I do is face to face because I like being in people's energy. Um, you can find me at www.synergy-cr.com. And I am based in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, in the United States. So, and I think you can. I think you can message me on that website too. So so yeah, that's where I am.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your beautiful story. Even though I somehow I feel like I jumped right into the story, like the really tough parts of the story, and I was like, wait a second, that was probably like too harsh.
You and I have talked before. You know me and you know what I could handle, and so we just jump in.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're incredible. You're beautiful. I just love your energy. I just love your shiny eyes, like I said in the very beginning. And I wish more people found that beauty within and that love within and that bliss that we're talking about
Yeah,
here. And I wish more people realize that they have the power to recreate themselves and reinvent their
yeah,
entire lives and turn it everything around if that's what they would like to make happen. Because it's possible. And you are an
absolutely.
example of that.
And are you?
Mhm.
Hmm.
So much. All right.
Thank you, Ruta.